The call came on a rainy Tuesday, the kind of afternoon when the sky looked as broken as my heart had felt for the past year. I almost ignored the unknown number, assuming it was another telemarketer. Instead, I answered, and within seconds, everything I thought I had finally left behind came rushing back. My ex-girlfriend's younger sister needed my help. She wasn't asking for money or a favor that could be solved with a quick phone call. She wanted me to pretend to be her fiancé at a family wedding. Before I could even process how absurd it sounded, she confessed that I was the only person she trusted enough to ask. I should have said no. Every memory of that family carried the weight of old heartbreak, sleepless nights, and dreams that had quietly died. But sometimes life places us on roads we never planned to walk because they lead somewhere we desperately need to find. Emma explained everything with a trembling voice. Her parents had spent months telling relatives she was engaged after she lied to avoid endless questions about her love life. The wedding of her oldest cousin had become the moment everyone expected to finally meet the mysterious fiancé. A week before the ceremony, the man who had agreed to help disappeared without a word. She had no one else. Despite everything that had happened between her sister and me, Emma had always treated me with kindness. She had been the one who secretly checked on me after the breakup, sending short messages reminding me to eat, sleep, and keep believing life would get better. I owed her more than I had ever admitted. The wedding was being held at a beautiful mountain resort surrounded by pine trees and mist-covered hills. The drive there felt strangely peaceful, yet every mile brought back memories of vacations I had once imagined taking with someone else. Emma tried to smile during the journey, but I could see the nervousness hiding behind her eyes. She carried the weight of disappointing an entire family, while I carried the fear of reopening wounds I had spent months trying to heal. When we reached the hotel, another surprise waited for us. A booking mistake had left only one available room with a single king-size bed. Every other hotel within an hour was fully booked because of several weddings taking place that weekend. We stood frozen in the elegant lobby while the receptionist apologized repeatedly. Neither of us wanted to make the situation awkward, but neither of us had another choice. We agreed that one uncomfortable night was better than creating questions that could expose the truth before the ceremony even began. The room overlooked a peaceful lake where evening sunlight reflected like liquid gold across the water. It should have been romantic, but instead it reminded us how complicated life could become in a single afternoon. We created invisible boundaries without speaking much about them. Pillows became a symbolic wall across the bed, and laughter slowly replaced the embarrassment. Somewhere between sharing old childhood stories and ordering room service sandwiches, we stopped acting like two people trapped by circumstances and started feeling like genuine friends again. The wedding festivities began the following morning. Family members greeted us with warm hugs and endless excitement. They admired the ring Emma had borrowed from a friend and congratulated us on our imaginary future together. Every smile I offered felt heavy because it was built on a lie, yet I understood why Emma had become trapped in this situation. Sometimes people lie not because they enjoy deception but because they fear disappointing those they love. Then came the moment I had dreaded. My ex walked into the reception hall wearing a soft blue dress that made the years disappear for just one painful second. She looked surprised, confused, and strangely emotional when she saw me standing beside her sister with my hand gently resting around Emma's shoulder. I expected anger or resentment. Instead, I saw regret. Real regret. It lingered in her eyes like a storm that had finally run out of rain. Throughout the day, I noticed little things. My ex watched from a distance whenever Emma laughed beside me. Their parents treated me exactly as they had before everything fell apart. Time had changed all of us, but it had also softened the sharp edges of old pain. During the reception, I learned something that shattered everything I had believed about our breakup. Emma quietly admitted that her sister had never stopped loving me. Fear had driven her away. She had believed she wasn't ready for commitment after losing her job and struggling with anxiety. Rather than asking for patience, she pushed me away because she thought I deserved someone stronger. Those words stayed with me long after the music faded into the evening air. I realized how often people mistake silence for indifference when it is actually fear hiding behind pride. We lose precious relationships because neither person knows how to admit they are hurting. Late that night, after guests had gone to sleep, I stepped outside onto the wooden pier overlooking the lake. The mountain air felt cold against my face. Emma joined me quietly and thanked me for saving her from humiliation. Then she admitted something unexpected. Pretending to be engaged had reminded her how deeply she longed for a real relationship built on honesty instead of appearances. She promised herself that after this weekend, she would stop living for other people's expectations. The next morning, the wedding ceremony unfolded beneath towering pine trees as sunlight filtered through the branches. Watching two people promise forever made everyone emotional. I caught my ex wiping away tears, not because of the bride and groom alone, but because she was mourning the future we had once imagined together. After the ceremony ended, she finally found the courage to approach me. There were no dramatic speeches or impossible promises. She simply apologized with tears in her eyes and accepted full responsibility for the choices that had separated us. She didn't ask for another chance. She only wanted me to know the truth before life carried us in different directions forever. Standing there, I realized forgiveness doesn't always mean rebuilding what was broken. Sometimes it simply means refusing to carry bitterness into tomorrow. I thanked her for her honesty and wished her healing. For the first time since our breakup, neither of us cried because of what we had lost. Instead, we smiled because we had finally found peace. As Emma and I packed our bags, we laughed about the ridiculous hotel mistake that had started so much unexpected healing. One shared room had forced two people to confront uncomfortable memories, hidden fears, and unspoken truths. It had become far more than a coincidence. It had become the beginning of emotional freedom for all of us. Driving home alone, I noticed the mountains disappearing in my rearview mirror. They reminded me that every difficult climb eventually leads to a different view. Some people return to our lives not to become part of our future but to help us finally let go of our past. My ex's sister had asked for a fake fiancé, but what she unknowingly gave me was something infinitely more valuable, a chance to forgive, to heal, and to believe that even the most painful endings can quietly become the first page of a far more beautiful chapter.